Hi everyone, my name is Marika and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about the 10 things I wish I knew before going into my freshman year of college. I am a rising sophomore at Whitman College and I wrote some things down of some tips and tricks that I wish I knew before going into my first year, which I hope you find helpful. So let's get started. The first thing would be to go to orientation. I know it sounds boring and repetitive and just really long and tiring, but it is really important. I know lots of people are telling you this, but believe me, it is really important. And if your school does orientation a little bit differently where you go before actually moving in, make sure you go to those first week events. They're also a great opportunity for you to meet new people, get free food. You will find that free food is very important as a college student. And you also will get lots of free swag and any trinkets that you might want from your school. It's also just a great way to get to know your school a little bit more. You'll learn about their programs, that they have any groups that you might want to join. There's always fairs like a club fair that you might want to look around, but we'll talk about that later. My second tip would be to connect. Connecting is super important, especially at the very beginning. So meeting people week one actively is really important. You might not be best friends with these people that you meet, but it's just a good way to start meeting people, start finding maybe a few friends that you might want to hold on to that year. And a few tips that I have for you is to keep your dorm room open. I know a lot of people say that, but it's true. People will walk down your hallway and poke their heads into your room and just to say hi. So that's just a great way to meet people who are in your dorm hall, on your floor. And you could also do that as well. Lots of people will have their door open, so you can poke in, say hi, introduce yourself. Another thing is to go to orientation events with these people. I remember being a little nervous and a little scared to go alone to these orientation events, but I would ask my roommate if she wanted to go, and it was just a good way to go to these orientation events without feeling like you're just the only one going. And having someone there with you has a lot of impact. So ask people to go to orientation. Ask people to go out to dinner that night or get food, all that stuff. And when you are invited to go to have dinner that night or go out into town, say yes. One, if parents are paying, it's a free way to get food, but it's also just a great way to be at the dining hall and you're not alone. I know everyone is scared of that, but it's just good to have someone to eat with. And like I said earlier, some parents during move-in will take their kids out to into town to have dinner or lunch. And if you're invited to go. It's a great way to meet someone new and maybe their family. You get to talk to them a little bit more. I know I definitely did that, and I met a lot of people just by going to those. My tip number 3 is once you've gone through those orientation events and you've met people, now it's time to think about classes. When you go to your classes for the very first time on the very first day, make sure you introduce yourself to the professor or the TA or both if you have both. It's really important to go up and introduce yourself. It helps the professors and the TAs put a name to a face. And what I like to do is I like to go up to the professor at the very end of class and tell them my name. I'll shake their hand and tell them that I'm really excited for their class. And it just helps you to get to know them a little bit, which is really important. If you feel comfortable with your professor and your TAs, it'll make asking them for help a lot easier. And if you go to a big school, it's a great way to stand out of the crowd. You know, you have lectures with 300, 400 students, and if your name is one that the professor knows, it might help you with your grade, or it might help you with getting help later on in the semester or quarter. Tip number 4 is go to office hours. I know I had the misconception that office hours was just for when I needed help, when I wasn't understanding what was in the class, but really office hours is just a block of time where the professors aren't teaching, aren't at meetings. It's just a place where they are in their office. So go to office hours. Go talk to them. Even if you don't have a question, it's just a great way to get to know your professor. You know, they've dedicated a big chunk of their lives for the research and the dedication to the discipline that they're teaching, so they are experts in that field. So go ask them a few questions, get to know them, and if you do have a question, it's a great way to get that one-on-one connection time and interaction that might help you in the future, because if you consistently go and talk to them and get to know them and they get to know you, then it could lead to research opportunities and other exciting things and invites that you might want to do in the future. Tip number 5 is use your school's resources. I didn't do that enough freshman year, but just remember that you are paying for these resources. You're paying a lot to be at this school, and you just want to make sure you're getting the most out of your time there. So go to tutoring, go to the health center and rec center and student centers. They're there for you to get help and just have fun, connect. Another thing is go to career counseling. If you don't know what you want to do with your career, the career counselors are great. They know what they're doing. They have lots of opportunities in their back pocket, and it's never too early to start. I definitely went to career counseling a lot. Even though I have a profession in mind, I did go to the counselors, and they help a lot. And if you have any accommodations, go see the accommodations office. They are very helpful, and they can help you with maybe some rooming issues or school issues. And if you need the help, go ask for help. Don't be shy about it. Another thing is to take part of the programs that are there. Everything is funded by the school that's school affiliated, such as outdoor programs, religious groups, volunteer programs that the school might offer. And it's a good way to be around similar people and people with similar interests. Tip number 6 is join clubs and be consistent. That's the big thing. Clubs are a great way to meet new people with similar interests. It doesn't have to be a career-oriented club, it can be something that you like to do for fun, maybe a movie club, maybe a singing club. I know some sports clubs are a lot of fun, and most of the time there will be free food. Like I said, free food is important, and a lot of these clubs have great opportunities, either for just having fun or career orienting. If you go to your club fair at the beginning during orientation week, that's a great way to see everything, see all of the groups that are on campus, and sign up for any that might be interesting. Even if you go to just the first meeting, it's great to just find the kind of people who are in the group, and you might not go back, but that's okay. Just go to those first meetings. Tip number 7 is more on a personal level. But it is to schedule your day, roughly. And make sure you find something that works for you. Something that might work for me won't work for someone else. Make sure it is consistent for your semester or your quarter, whichever system that your school is on. Make sure you're consistent with it. I know I had some issues with making sure I had a consistent schedule, and I would fall out of some study habits and all that stuff. But make sure you make time for your meals. Eating is important. Take care of your body, whether that's going to the gym, taking a walk around campus, just getting some movement, or even taking a nap. I know I'm a big napper, so I like to take naps and fit in naps into my schedule, which is important to me. Another thing is to study. Obviously, you're at school, but not too much. You don't want to burn yourself out, and that's a big thing. You can try different things like studying with friends, studying alone. Find what works for you. Don't be peer pressured to study in a group if you're not a good group studier. And another thing is to find a consistent space for yourself when you're studying, whether that's going to the engineering building, the science building, the humanities building. Find something that works for you. Another location would be libraries and cafeterias and maybe student centers. I know I've tried all three and I love all three. It is a school, so there are plenty of spaces to study, and don't be afraid to test them all out. Find something that works best. More things to add into your schedule is to socialize. Go to school events, go to dorm hall events, and any events held by students. A lot of things are advertised. Go to a concert, go to a play. They're all a lot of fun to just get engaged with your school and also just step away from your studies and let yourself live a little. One last thing is to make sure you give yourself some alone time. It is important to step back and just make sure that you're okay and make time for yourself. And during those alone times, maybe check in with parents and friends from back home. They miss you a lot, so make sure you text them once in a while and check in and tell them about your day, tell them how you're doing. That was a big one that I did too. Number 8 is go to sporting events. And even if you go to a small school like I do, there's still sports. So go to those basketball games, go to those soccer games, go to those lacrosse games. They're free for students, which is great, and another way to meet students and people who might be as excited to be there as you are. It's also a great way to build school pride and school spirit. And it's just an opportunity for you to get out of your dorm and separate studying from living life. It's still college and you want to have fun and you don't want to just be studying, which is a very important distinction. Make sure you have your school life balance figured out. Number 9 is say yes to invitations to go out and explore. I know I touched on this a little bit earlier, but say yes when you're invited to go to dinner or go to the movies or explore your college town or city. It's always fun to do that with people who you've met and new friends that you might have. I know I did a lot of exploring. I went on a few hikes and I went to a lake with some friends, and it was a lot of fun. And if you don't have a place where you can go hiking really, really close or just being out in the outdoors, maybe go to a nearby mall, amusement park, or any local destinations that you might have fun with. Go on a little weekend trip. Those are always fun. And again, separates you from your school mind, so you develop that school and life separation. Tip number 10 is to go do things on your own. You're out at college, you're alone maybe for the first time, you're living on your own, or not, and that's okay, but you're more independent than you were in high school. So go wander into town if you feel safe, that is. Make sure you feel safe before you go do that. And if you don't feel safe into going into town alone, maybe wander around your campus. You might find a nice little nook that you might want to go back to and hammock or read there one day on a good day. If you're in town, maybe you might want to go into a new store. Those are always fun to explore. I know there's some antique shops downtown at my little town that I like to go into now. Maybe try a new cafe. It might be a good way to get away, get out of the campus, and go study there if you wanted. Again, going on a hike or go on an adventure alone, that's always fun, especially if you have a car. Go on a hike. During the winter time, if you can ski, go ski by yourself. Go have some fun. And another thing is go on those school-affiliated trips. There are lots of trips happening during school, whether that's outdoors or with a multicultural group or religious group. They're not like grade school field trips, and you have a lot more autonomy and freedom of yourself. You are partially an adult at this point, so the school organizes it and gets you from point A to point B, but you are really able to decide things, and they're honestly a lot of fun. Before we go on to our bonus, make sure you hit that like button and comment down below what you would like to see next, or some things that you might want to know, and I'll make sure to reply to everyone and any questions that you might have. Now, my bonus tip is it's okay if things don't go perfectly. I know I still have high expectations for myself as a student, and coming out of high school, I was used to getting good grades in class, and it felt like I didn't really have to do that extra step of studying to do well. But that is not the case in college. It is a lot harder to get better grades, and be kind on yourself if you find yourself struggling at the beginning. It's okay. You'll find new ways of studying and ask for help and feel confident with asking for help. Another thing is to be open to exploring new disciplines and majors. You might go in thinking you're one major and come out of freshman year thinking you might be another. That's what happened to me. And take classes that you have never heard about. I took a sociology class that I never really knew about, and I had the best time, and it was so much fun. So make sure you explore a little in your classes and all that stuff. And again, college is not like high school. It is a lot harder to get higher grades, and if you're used to doing basically the bare minimum and doing well, it will be a little bit of a shock when you get your first test back and you are getting a lower grade than you have ever gotten in your whole life. That happened to me, but it is okay. Just when you have those instances where you're like in shock, make sure you reflect on some things that you might want to do differently. Maybe read the textbook before you go to class, or go to office hours, go to those open tutoring sessions. You can talk to your advisors, professors, TAs, and other students. They're all there for you. They're all wanting to help you. And make sure that you strive for your best. Your best might be lower than what you get in high school, and that's perfectly okay. And just remember that you don't have to have it all figured out your first year. You have so much time before you graduate, so much time before the rest of your life. You will be okay. Those were my 10 tips plus a bonus on things I wish I knew before my first year of college. I hope you found something valuable, something that you want to hold on to, and I hope you have the best time freshman year. It's so much fun. Don't be nervous. I know I was definitely nervous, so it's okay to be nervous, but I hope you have fun and get out there and meet new people and have the best year. Make sure you like and comment down below what you want to see next and anything else you would want to know. I will make sure to be in the comments and reply to you guys. All right, see you next time.